I don't know if you've noticed it, but there's a slight undertone of racism to Donald Trump's campaign. No, really. And of course, when I say slight undertone, I mean something approximately the size of, the sky. Two examples that may have flown under your radar, but maybe you should get tattoos of them. A prominent African-American politician has, on a CNN podcast, described birtherism as, quote, bullshit racism. That politician is Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee, and while his assertion is correct, it would carry a little more weight if he had not been chairman of the Republican National Committee from January 2009 through January 2011, exactly when that bullshit racism that is birtherism first flourished in the Republican Party under his watch, a mantle that would largely be taken up by Donald, Mr. Bullshit Racism himself, Trump. And then there's Kathy Miller. Kathy Miller, chair of the Trump campaign in Mahoning County, Ohio. That's Youngstown, just about halfway on the drive from Cleveland to Pittsburgh. She was interviewed by the British newspaper The Guardian, and she knows who is to blame for racism in this country. Barack Obama. Growing up in Ohio in the 60s, Kathy Miller says there was no racism, there was no segregation, no civil rights protests. Quote, I never experienced it. I never saw that as anything. Growing up as a kid, there was no racism. Believe me, we were just all kids going to school. I don't think there was any racism until Obama got elected. We never had problems like this. Now with the people with the guns and shooting up the neighborhoods and not being responsible citizens, that's a big change, and I think that's the philosophy that Obama has perpetuated on America. No, I'm not making any of this up. To let Ms. Miller continue, quote, if you're black and you haven't been successful in the last 50 years, it's your own fault. You've had every opportunity. It was given to you. You've had the same schools everybody else went to. You had benefits to go to college that white kids didn't have. You had all the advantages and didn't take advantage of it. It's not our fault, certainly. Chairperson Miller is a living metaphor for his campaign. She has resigned now, but she is the Trump campaign. She is him. She is all of them, living a whole life made up of, if it didn't happen to me, it didn't happen. And to quote Blazing Saddles, you've got to remember that these are just simple farmers. These are the people of the land, the common clay of the New West. You know, morons. That's the closer. I'm Keith Olbermann. Watch this space.